So, Kylie Jenner is being sued by a housekeeper who says she was abused and assaulted inside Kylie's own mansion. And honestly, the more details that come out, the worse this whole thing gets. It's not just a bad work environment. This woman says she was constantly mocked for her ethnicity and her religion. And when she tried to speak up, things didn't get better, they got worse. She even says a supervisor beat her with clothing hangers as a punishment for speaking out. And honestly, this case is very disturbing, and people online are seriously not happy about this. Before we go further, please help me just drop a quick hi or even just a W in the comments. It really helps my video get seen by more people. And if you feel like it, give it a like. It's a small thing, but it really means a lot, and it supports me so much. Thank you. So, Kylie just got back from a couple of weeks at Coachella. After all that traveling, she came home to this massive lawsuit. The housekeeper's name is Angelica Vazquez. She says she started working for Kylie as a housekeeper at her Beverly Hills residence on September 10th, 2024. And about a week later, she was moved over to Kylie's Hidden Hills residence. She reported to a woman named Elsie and a head housekeeper named Patty. And according to Angelica, from the very beginning, things were bad. She says she was belittled and humiliated in front of her co-workers because of her race, her national origin, and her religious beliefs. And look, those aren't just personal grievances. Those are things you legally cannot discriminate against in a workplace. It doesn't matter if that workplace happens to be Kylie Jenner's house. The rules are the rules. Angelica says she's Salvadoran and Catholic, and she claims she was directly told that Catholics are horrible people. She says she was mocked and intimidated about her immigration status specifically, and that people made comments suggesting that someone with her background could get deported from America. And I mean, given everything that's been happening with ICE lately, you can only imagine how threatening something like that would feel. And it wasn't just the verbal stuff. She also says she was assigned the absolute worst tasks in the house. She was excluded from the housekeeping team, had fingers snapped at her, and was regularly shouted at. And then, on one occasion, after she went and complained about how she was being treated, a supervisor threw hangers at her while reprimanding her. She spoke up, and instead of anything getting better, someone physically threw objects at her, and people online are reacting to exactly that. One person said, "So she was punished for reporting abuse." And here's the part that I personally can't get past. This is all happening inside Kylie's home. Kylie is right there in the next room. There is no way, or in my opinion, that she had zero awareness of what kind of environment her staff was dealing with every single day. And people are calling that out directly. Comments saying, "You live in the house, you hear things, you see things, don't tell me you had no idea." And now there's actually a second housekeeper involved in this story too.
According to the lawsuit that TMZ obtained, the housekeeper, who identifies as a Muslim woman with Middle Eastern descent, claims that she was subjected to repeated discriminatory treatment, claiming it was tied to both her religion and her background while working in Kylie Jenner's home.
She's accusing Kylie of national origin discrimination, religious discrimination, unpaid wages, and labor violation.
Unpaid wages from a billionaire is actually crazy.
And that's the part people locked onto immediately. One commenter said, "She's worth over $1 billion and her housekeeper is filing for unpaid wages. How does that even happen?" Another one said, "Discriminated against and not paid, pick a struggle." But before we get into all of that, here's something that a lot of people seem to forget. Kris Jenner actually owns a church. She launched the California Community Church, which was originally called the Life Change Church before they rebranded it. It's located in Agora Hills, not far from where the Kardashians live. And the pastor she handpicked to run it is a man named Brad Johnson, someone who has been tied to multiple scandals over the years, and including cheating and financial issues. He's also the same person who officiated Khloe and Lamar's wedding, so he's been deeply connected to this family for a very long time. And Kim has even publicly acknowledged that she gives at least 10% of her earnings to the church every year, which, when you think about it, raises a lot of questions about what exactly that money is doing and where it's actually going. So you've got a family that owns and funds a religious institution, and at the same time, their own employees are claiming they're being discriminated against specifically because of their faith. And one person online said it the clearest: "You're tithing to a church while your staff is being told Catholics are horrible people inside your house." Make that make sense? That contrast is honestly hard to ignore. Now back to Angelica, because she is not suing Patty or Elsie. She is suing Kylie directly and specifically. She says the working conditions were so bad that she developed anxiety and symptoms consistent with PTSD. She eventually had to resign in August 2025 after her complaints kept going unaddressed and unresolved. And she is now seeking damages for unpaid wages, emotional distress, and punitive damages on top of all of that. Sources close to Kylie have pushed back on everything. They're claiming that Angelica had attendance issues and other workplace problems, basically trying to reframe the whole story and make her look like she was the problem all along, and people are not buying it. One commenter said, "Funny how the attendance problems only came up after the lawsuit." Another said, "They always find something wrong with the employee the second they speak up, every single time." And this is exactly why people are upset, because it keeps happening.
Kylie Cosmetics is being sued by a model for not paying her on time. According to a lawsuit obtained by TMZ, model named Sasha Palma claims she was hired for a couple photo shoots for Kylie Cosmetics products. In the document, Sasha claims she was first hired for a one-day shoot back in 2020 for a daily rate of $2,000. Kylie's company missed the deadline by more than 30 days. Sasha claims Kylie Cosmetics was certainly able to pay her on time, but chose not to, and now they owe her penalties totaling $60,000. Sasha claims there was another photo shoot in August 2020 where she didn't get paid for more than 30 days as well, and now Sasha is going after Kylie Cosmetics for $120,000.
And then there's this post that someone shared on X that really put things into perspective. This person said they worked as an editor for the Kardashian apps back in 2015 in Los Angeles. They worked days, nights, and weekends, and still couldn't afford groceries from anywhere except the 99-cent store. There were days they literally couldn't put gas in their car to get to the office, and they were reprimanded for freelancing on the side just to try to survive. And remember those apps? Kourtney had one, Kim had one, Kylie had one, everyone had one. Looking back, it really was just a quick cash grab. Same energy as the giveaways. And we need to talk about those giveaways. The Kardashians have been sued for $40 million over those Instagram giveaways.
Allegedly, they've been taking users' information and selling it to third parties for a lot of money, which makes way more sense to me because if I were Kim and I were worth $2 billion, you'd have to give me some real incentive to pose next to some Louis Vuitton bags. And I'm not trying to victim blame, but y'all really saw Khloe Kardashian eating pizza next to some wrinkled bags and thought, this is my ticket to success, this is my ticket to Hollywood? Please, please. And Kim, Khloe, Kylie, Kourtney, everybody else, I know I might get shadow banned for saying this, but listen. Posing next to some shopping bags next to a Maybach in the driveway is not chic, okay? These giveaways are not chic. The Kardashians have already scammed consumers in so many other ways. I mean, the beauty industry, they'll spend 30 cents making a palette and then sell it for $100. Like, they're already scamming and ripping people off anyway. These giveaways were always so bizarre to me. Like, Kim, what the hell is this? This is not Vogue. This is not glamour. Like, Kanye, get Kanye on the phone because this is not cutting it. These little scammy giveaways need to stop.
As a society, I truly feel like we have moved past the fake luxury hauls that celebrities do all the time, but the Kardashians still do them for some reason, and I need to get to the bottom of this. I feel like we all remember every celebrity was doing this in like 2016, 2017, 2018, like designer bags, Apple products, and it was all in this like Instagram giveaway from a random company. And this one that Khloe is doing is sponsored by High Key Clout, and it's a holiday giveaway for 7 lucky winners. What you have to do is follow them, tag a friend, and then they like draw the person. I truly don't know a single person that has ever won one of these because at this point I feel like we would have heard of them posting a TikTok about it or speaking about it somewhere online, but we really haven't. And I think a lot of us through the years have been like, no one actually wins these things, they're all fake, and Khloe's just getting paid to post this and move on with her life. But I don't know, because it does have 16,000 comments, but we are, as a greater society, are smarter than, you know, these comments. Like, we know no one's gonna win this. We know this is not real. High Key Clout is not a real company. I don't know what they are. They're probably paying Khloe $100,000 to, you know, boost their following, and no one's ever gonna win this. But like, why do we keep doing this? Like, I need to know why they keep taking these deals.
They were getting paid $100K to run a fake giveaway while their housekeepers couldn't get their wages. The audacity. It's always the same empty Louis Vuitton boxes too, by the way. Like, they keep the same boxes in storage and just pull them out every year for the giveaway photos. And somehow this is the same family that's telling the world to get up and work. Now, let's go back to the employees. Specifically Kim's situation from 2021, because a lot of people seem to have completely forgotten about this one. A group of 7 workers filed a class action lawsuit against Kim for not paying them properly. All 7 were Latino workers, and one of them was only 16 years old. These workers accused Kim of withholding 10% of their wages, telling them it was going toward taxes, while actually never reporting their employment to tax authorities at all.
Kim Kardashian is being sued by her staff who claim they were underpaid and not given breaks. Staff suing her are 7 Latina workers. One of them is underage, only being 16 years old. They allege that when they worked for Kim, they weren't paid their overtime and they weren't allowed to take meal or rest breaks. They also allege that the 16-year-old was required to work more than 48 weekly hours, which is not allowed in California. And when the 16-year-old asked about those issues, he was fired. Here's all the reasons why they're suing. It's a lot, you can pause to read. So what does Kim and her team have to say about this? Well, they're saying that Kim is not responsible for her staff not being paid because the workers were hired and paid through a third-party vendor that was hired by Kim to provide ongoing services. Therefore, Kim is not responsible for how the vendor manages their business and the agreements they have directly with their staff. This is why we say eat the rich. Kim didn't care about how her staff was treated or if they were even getting paid while they worked in her home. All she cared about was whether the work was done. That's what rich people do. They hire third-party vendors to minimize their costs. That way, when they get called out for exploitation, they get to say it's not their fault.
She didn't concern herself with whether her staff was being paid fairly or treated with basic decency. She cared that the work got done. That's it. And people saw right through it. One commenter said that Kim had actually called out her own sister Courtney for similar things not long before this. She threw that stone and then hid her hand behind her back. And isn't it funny? She did the exact same thing. Then there's Kendall. Back in 2014, Kendall Jenner, 18 years old at the time, went to dinner at Mercer Kitchen with Hailey Baldwin. The staff refused to serve them alcohol because Kendall was underage. So Kendall and Hailey got up and left without paying the bill, which came to about $60 and left no tip. When the waitress came after them, Kendall took out a couple of $20 bills and literally threw them at the server's face. Didn't count if it was enough, didn't include a tip, just threw the money and walked away. And it wasn't just that one time either. Someone who kept running into Kendall around Los Angeles shared their experience.
And then there are the ones that just make everybody's lives really difficult. And to be honest, this girl was constantly making my life difficult, whether it was like cutting the lines at the coffee shops or like shutting down full establishments because she wanted to be there even though other people were already eating. Or my personal favorite was the time that it was my friend's birthday and we got a table next to the DJ, but she showed up and they kicked us out of her table. We got put in a table next to hers and we're taking pictures of like the birthday party happening, and her security came up and started ripping phones out of people's hands because she wasn't 21 yet. Like, I don't want to say that she's a good or bad person, like whatever, like I don't actually know her. I just kept encountering her and it was just annoying. Like there are some big A-list stars that like don't do that.
Ripping phones out of people's hands at someone else's birthday is actually insane behavior. And then finally, Kris Jenner, because this whole conversation is not complete without talking about what her former bodyguard accused her of.
Back in 2020, Kris Jenner's former bodyguard sued her for $3 million. And today there is new information. So this is Mark McWilliams, who was apparently a one-time rapper turned bodyguard, was hired by the Kardashians, and spent a lot of time protecting Kris Jenner. But here's the shocking part. Kris Jenner is being accused of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and battery. McWilliams is claiming that Kris exposed herself, grabbed his butt, and then fired him when he ignored her advances. He now added another shocking allegation claiming that Kris Jenner sexually assaulted him in her Bentley in 2017. Kris Jenner and Mark McWilliams agreed to take this case into private arbitration, where an LA judge gave each party 12 months to come up with a private arbitrator and come up with an agreement. Let me know what you guys think.
And it appears Kris was able to pay this whole thing off before it ever made it to an actual courtroom. Kris and Courtney denied everything, but Mark McWilliams made his story very public, and people don't usually do that, unless they feel like they have absolutely no other choice left. So here's what I want to know. Do you think Kylie is actually responsible for what happened inside her own home? Or do you think people are blaming her for something that she genuinely didn't know was going on? Because that's the real question here, and I think a lot of people are going to have very different answers. Drop it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.